it's not healthy either. So we'll talk about that today. But I want to thank you for making some time. You had anywhere to be on a Saturday morning. You chose to be here with me. I hope this conversation is helpful for you. Let me walk through what we're going to do today. So we'll be together for maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour or so. And this is an educational session. I want you to leave this session with some insight into why your efforts might not be paying off in the ways that you're hoping, how you can start to make changes to your strategies so you can start to make progress again, and where some low-hanging fruit so that August feels like progress toward the goal versus just another kind of wonky summer month, right? So we're really trying to treat August and the fall like an opportunity to continue your progress versus resetting. Hello to everybody who's just jumping in. I'm Coach Kyra. I'm going to be your host for today. As you're getting settled in, feel free to drop into the chat your least favorite fitness trend at the moment. This is going to be an interactive conversation. It's really boring up here talking to myself for an hour, so I'm going to ask you to engage with me in the chat. While you're getting in, please do feel free to drop your least favorite fitness trend in the chat function. Okay. By the end of this hour, here's what we're going to do. One, why calorie deficit can be harder than it sounds. Why calories like quietly start to accumulate. Why healthy food isn't always healthy. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about how protein, carbohydrates, and fats affect your calorie intake. We need to understand the caloric density or the caloric value of each of these different macronutrient groups. So we'll talk about that and how those things start to add up quickly, kind of easily pulling you out of your calorie deficit. We'll talk about how to read food labels and how to build meals that make staying in your calorie deficit for fat loss easier. I'm assuming that everybody is here for the purpose of body recomposition and fat loss, right? If you're not here for body recomposition and fat loss, you're in the wrong room, okay? But if that's why you're here, these are the things that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do some live coaching with somebody for a specific sticking point. So I actually want to talk to someone who's here on the call today about a specific issue that you're having live on Zoom. So be thinking whether or not you want to volunteer to participate in this like live coaching moment that we'll have by the end of our call today. And then I'll leave you with a treat. I'll leave you with a gift for coming today, kind of talk to you a little bit about what could happen if you needed extra support, but I'll leave you with a freebie at the end of our call today. So definitely stick around for that. I'll definitely share a little bit more about what it could look like to work together if you're interested in that. No pressure whatsoever, but yeah, you'll get all of that at the end of the call. So make sure you stick around if you're able to stick around. First things first, if you're here on this call today, you're pursuing a fat loss goal, pursuing a body recomposition goal, you're not broken. It's totally normal to have the desires that you have. And you're not broken, but you may have been given the wrong tools. Everybody comes to this call knowing how to, get more protein, knowing what a vegetable is, knowing that by Monday, the weekend has kind of taken them off track a little bit. They need to start fresh. The issue is not your willpower. The issue is that you've never really been shown behind the scenes, behind the curtain of how this stuff actually works. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And why should you listen to me, right? A lot of you might know me through the gym, know me through social media, fill in the blank. Like, why am I somebody whose opinion should matter to you? One is like, I've actually kind of lived this story, right? Starting from trying everything to try to get my body back, try to get my health back. I remember being about 80 pounds overweight. My doctor wasn't concerned, but I was. I was having lots of pain. It was difficult getting upstairs. I just wasn't living in the fullness of my life. And that was a byproduct of moving cross country and kind of starting my life over and going through a really like depressed and anxious season of time. And just like food became comfort. And I lost myself to food. And all of a sudden, I'm trying to find myself again. And I start doing all the things that we said we hate in the chat, right? Like I started cutting out entire food groups, only eating vegetables. I did the soup diet. I did Jenny Craig. I did Noom. I did Weight Watchers. I did all that stuff. And like nothing was producing anything, even down to 1 meal a day fasting, which was really, really hard. I was wondering why I'm only eating once, right? I'm eating once in a day and nothing is happening. And so I decided to take matters into my own hands. I decided to learn what my body actually needed, not these social media fads and social media trends, but like what my body is actually requiring of me in this moment. So this is my transformation. Fully transform my body recomposition, fat loss, muscle building. It's been awesome. And I've helped a billion people do this same thing. So I hope that my story is encouraging to you. I hope that I get to share a little bit more about my story today. And you can definitely reach out with any questions that you might have about my personal journey. But like boxing was a big part of my personal journey. Boxing was actually how I dropped that last 20 pounds. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. And here are some of the people who I've helped. Some of these people are like people you might see in the gym. Some of these people are people you might see online on my social media when we have these conversations. Some of these people might be here today, right? And so just thinking about what education do I need to finally understand the framework, the process, the steps behind this thing so I can show up for myself and actually transform. Okay, first things first, we're talking specifically about fat loss, body recomposition. I want to drop body fat. I want to retain my muscle mass, right? Everybody here for that? Like, can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a yeah? Can I get a high five? You can leave a little emoji, fill in the blank. Like, yep, everybody's here for the same goal. We're trying to drop body fat, improve our body composition. Is that why everybody's here today? Thumb, heart, cool thumb, head nod. Excellent. Thank you. Heart. Perfect. Thank you. Like I said, it gets really boring up here talking to myself. Okay. All right. So here's what we got. When we think about trying to improve our body composition, trying to change the way we look, drop our adiposity, drop our body fat, and improve our muscle tone definition, our ability to see our muscle mass, right? This is all a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit is how you lose body fat, period. It doesn't matter how you create your calorie deficit. It does, right? But as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will be losing body fat tissue. Okay. The hard truth is that many people are not actually in a calorie deficit. Okay. Everybody understands what I mean by a calorie deficit, right? Like, do we need to go there really quickly? Like, do I need to go back to what is a calorie deficit? What does this actually mean? What is this terminology? Everybody clear on that? Cool. I know what a calorie deficit is. I've heard this before. Thumbs up. Yeah. Head nod. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, this terminology is really running, online. Like everybody's talking about calorie deficit. Okay, so you've probably heard what calorie deficit is. It's essentially giving your body fewer resources than it needs today so that it can tap into your fat sources for energy. Okay, giving your body fewer calories than it needs today so that it can use body fat for energy. Okay, that's the only way to lose body fat is to force your body to use its own fat for energy by eating less food. Period. Okay, the truth of the matter, though, is that you might not actually be in a calorie deficit. Today, we're going to fix that. There's some reasons why you might not be in a deficit, even though you think you are. Okay. You might be underestimating your calorie intake by 20 to 40%. Okay. This is actually well documented. We've put people in rooms and kind of just let them eat ad libitum, right, at their own liberty and said, okay, guesstimate how much food you're actually consuming. Nobody's able to guesstimate correctly. Okay. Without tracking or having a history of tracking your food, you won't be able to guess your calorie consumption. Not even full-time nutritionists are able to accurately guess your calorie consumption. Okay. So you might be underestimating your intake by a lot. Okay. You might be overestimating how many calories your exercise is actually burning. If you're in a gym and like ripping through classes, like some of us are taking, 2 or 3 classes back to back, and you're like ripping through classes and wondering why nothing is actually happening. This could be a reason why. You go to class, your watch says you burned 1,400 calories, and you get home and you don't do anything else for the rest of the day. Sit on the couch. You're just completely calm, completely relaxed. You're watching Marvel movies all day long. You've lost another way of burning calories, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? That's just like movement that doesn't come from exercise. Even this is burning calories. Me talking to you is burning calories, okay? If you just go lay on the couch after class or after you do your workout and you're not doing anything else, you are losing an opportunity to burn more calories, okay? Weekends, erasing the progress made during the week. Man, if you ever go to the movie, I went to see Spider-Man last night. If you ever go to the movies and you get a popcorn and anything else, I guarantee you, you just ate back half of your calorie deficit for the week. That's not necessarily an issue, but it's something that we need to be aware of because we think like, oh, I just had one, right? But just one turns into an opportunity to really close in on that margin that we created the week, during the week over the weekend. And then social eating during the summer, weekends, barbecues, patios, vacation, rosé, all that stuff just quietly stacking up and undoing the deficit that you've worked so hard for. All of these are reasons why you might think that you're in a calorie deficit, but your behavior patterns are proving that you aren't. Okay. Any questions about this? Question, drop them in the chat. Hey, Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. Okay.
No.
Perfect. All this is clear. Excellent. Okay. Let's keep going. So calorie deficit part one, you might be eating less food, right? Like you say calorie deficit. Okay, coach, you're saying I need to eat less food than my body needs so that it can burn its body fat. Yes. But eating less food does not mean that you're eating fewer calories. Let me explain. A calorie deficit is based on your total daily energy intake, not just how disciplined, cleaned, or healthy your food choices might feel to you. Smaller portions of high calorie dense foods can erase your deficit, even though you think that you're eating less food, right? So, for example, went to the movies yesterday. I had a popcorn, just a single regular sized popcorn. That's probably about 800 calories, right? Because of the butter and all the stuff that they cook it with, right? That's probably 800 calories in my popcorn. And then if I had just like a regular serving of my Reese's cups, 2 Reese's cups together, that's 200 calories, right? I just ate 1,000 calories in some popcorn and 2 Reese's cups. Where if we were to start to visualize 1,000 calories of like actual helpful food, right? We might start to see that like our calorie choices are taking us out of a deficit. Our food choices are taking us out of a deficit. Let me explain. Liquid calories, that's coffee, juice, alcohol, smoothies, sports drinks might not feel like they're food, right? You're eating less, but their calories still count for something. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Cooking extras, whether you're cooking with oil, butter, sauce, dressings, cheese, just a little bit of peanut butter, these things are really easy to underestimate and take you out of a calorie deficit. And I'll explain why in just a second. And then untracked bites and sips. Man, while I'm cooking, like I'm getting hungry while I'm cooking. So I took a little bite of the food, or like I grabbed a handful of cashews, or my kids had leftovers from camp. So I ate their crackers, or my weekend grazing, right? Like I'm sitting here listening to you, Coach Kyra, like I'm grazing on trail mix. I'm not really attending to what I'm eating. All of that can cut into the calorie deficit budget that you're trying to create. So let me explain. Here we have like two different options. I see this all the time when people are starting to think about like, what should I be eating? Okay. They'll ask me all the time, hey, coach, what should I be eating? I'm a certified nutritionist, certified personal trainer, certified health and wellness coach. They'll always ask me what they need to eat for their specific goals. I'll see this granola bowl thing all the time. But let me tell you what makes a granola bowl really challenging, right? So we have a cup of granola at probably something like 150 calories because it has like sweets and honey and sugar and chocolate and all that kind of stuff. It's not just oats, right? Like it has all this other stuff in it. Okay. We have a cup of yogurt, but it's not just like high protein yogurt, it's like high sugar yogurt as well. So the yogurt itself might be 200 calories. So a cup of yogurt, a cup of granola, we're already at 350 calories. And then 2 tablespoons of peanut butter can easily come out to another 200 calories. So where you thought you were eating like this healthy granola, but like all these things are technically healthy. Yogurt is healthy, granola is healthy, peanut butter is technically healthy, but now you've created something that like easily can sit at over 650 calories, right? Whereas if we were to have just like a high protein breakfast, 2 eggs, 140 calories. Okay, let me put egg, 2 eggs, 140 calories, and that's if you're getting the big ones. Okay, one serving of egg whites, a serving of egg whites is actually 25 calories. You can have 4 servings of egg whites for 100 calories. Okay. 2 eggs, 140 calories. One serving egg whites, 100 calories. One piece of fruit, so an apple, some like 80 calories. And a slice of toast, bread, another 80 calories. Okay. So this is like 240 plus 160. What? This might be 400 calories for food that's going to keep you more full for longer. Okay. We're trying to make decisions that will help us stay in a calorie deficit when we have these fat loss goals. A protein bowl or a granola bowl is really sometimes going to lend us in the opposite direction of what we're trying to do. Okay. High protein breakfast filled with fiber, filled with protein is going to support us long term in making progress toward our fat loss goals. This is an important slide. I really want, like, if you have an opportunity to kind of take notes on this, I think this is a great point to take notes on, that every calorie is broken down into macronutrients called proteins, carbs, fat, or alcohol. Alcohol is also a macronutrient, okay? Protein is 4 calories per gram of protein. Protein is the building block of your body. It supports muscle retention, recovery, overall fitness. We want to build each meal around a protein source, okay? Then we have carbohydrates. Carbs are 4 calories per gram. Carbs are your body's preferred energy source. Okay. You want to choose the amount of carbs that your body needs to support your training, energy, and your overall calorie goals. And then fats. Fats are 9 calories per gram. Fats are essential for your health. Fats help with flavor, but fats are more calorie dense in that fats are twice as much, more than twice as much as protein and carbs in terms of calorie density. And then alcohol is 7 calories per gram. But the issue with alcohol is that it reduces your inhibitions, right? Like alcohol kind of starts giving you permission. You stop thinking about your awareness around portions and snacking, and the types of foods that you eat while you're drinking might look really different because you just don't care, right, when alcohol is there. Okay. Have you heard this before? Like, drop this in the chat. Have you heard this explained this way before? Protein, 4 calories per gram, carbs, 4 calories per gram, fats, 9 calories per gram, alcohol, 7 calories per gram. As we start to kind of think about where are my calories coming from so that I can know whether or not I'm still in a deficit. Give me a thumbs up, heads nod. Yes, coach, I've heard this before. Actually, no, this is my first time kind of hearing this explained this way. There's a yes. To hear and know is my first time hearing about protein, carbs, fat, and alcohol. Have you heard this explained this way before? First time. Good. This is good. I mean, this is good context because when people start talking about making changes to their diet, right? They're saying like, oh, you need to eliminate all carbohydrate. But why would I eliminate all carbohydrate when fats in terms of the budget are more than twice as much as carbohydrate? Why do I need to cut out all of my carbs when fats are more expensive, right? And then why do I need to cut out all of my carbs if I'm actively exercising? I'm taking steps, I'm going to the gym, I'm taking boxing classes. I need this fuel for my training and energy and recovery. Why would I cut out all carbohydrates if I actually need them for what my body and my life needs? Okay. So this is just like awareness. And I think the thing with awareness is once you have this education, it can't be taken from you. Once you know this everywhere, right? You know this no matter what you see on TikTok, you know this no matter what you hear on YouTube or what you see at Chili's Baby Back Ribs, right? You know this now. Okay. So now when you go out into the world, you take this with you. Okay. All right. So thinking again about like how to apply this strategy of understanding the caloric difference between carbs, protein, fat, and alcohol. Which snack has fewer calories, right? So which one do you think is going to have the least amount of calories? Is going to be the trail mix, the high fat trail mix, or the high protein, high carb protein and produce? It's always going to be the protein and produce, like Greek yogurt, berries, and apple. It's always going to be low calorie to take that route, okay, versus going for trail mix, especially because, like we said, a cup handful, this much trail mix, right, it only fits here, is like already 200 calories, just because nuts and chocolate and all that stuff is just so high in fat, okay? We want to look that's high in protein, high in produce, so that it's lower in calories, but also keeps us more satiated. And then we want to think about like when we're shopping for food, start with the number that most people skip, which is like the servings in what you're purchasing. Okay. This is where like food labels get really confusing. And this is education that again you can take with you to your grocery store when you go shopping this week. Okay. On this label, it says that this item that we're purchasing has 4 servings. Each serving is 55 grams or 1 cup, and the calories per serving is 230 calories. Okay. If I'm looking at this label and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to eat half of this package, instead of eating 230 calories worth of food, I'm actually eating 460 calories if I eat half of this package, right? There are 4 servings in this package. Each one is 230 calories. If I eat half of the package, then I'm also going to be eating 460 calories. I think like eating a package of like peanuts, right? Like you go to the gas station and you get like a single package. Y'all know like the skinny pack of like peanuts or almonds or cashews or fill in the blank. You get like a skinny pack of cashews, right? In that skinny pack is 2 servings. So if you just ate the whole thing, you just ate nearly 400 calories worth of nuts and seeds. Okay. It's important for us to review these food labels so that we can know how much we're actually consuming. Okay. Do you usually, and this is a question just to ask yourself, do I usually look at my label first? Number one, do I check my labels when I'm buying food? And then two, after I check my label, do I try to eat the serving size? Right. I think the thing about eating the listed serving size is that how do you know how much a cup is? Right. If you're in the car or you're just like driving around or fooling around, filling the blank, you're not really paying attention to how much a serving is. So how do I know how much a serving is? I actually made a course about this. I made a video course about this. Comment the word food, FOOD. So you can just type that in the chat here of how to know how much you're actually eating when you don't have a food scale to log in a moment, when you don't have something that can tell you how to get accuracy when it comes to how much food you're eating. Just comment food. Hold on, let me see. All right, hold on. Wait a minute, y'all. Wait, dang, I gotta write it down. Okay, so I got hold on. Tara, Tasha, hold on. Michael, and Tahira. Okay, so I'll send you the link to this food course once we hang up today. But this will give you a great overview of how I can use my hands to visualize portion sizes because this doesn't say like, okay, a palm size portion of nuts is 1 cup, right? You're going to have to visualize it. So that course that I'll send to you will help you learn how to visualize it. Okay. So I got you after we hang up the phone. So there's one. There's like, how many servings are in this food item that I'm purchasing? But then question number two is this actually helpful to my long-term goal? Okay. For people who are working on fat loss, you need one, a calorie deficit. That is the only way to lose fat. Okay. Two, hold on, let me erase this. 1 second, y'all. Let me make more space so I can draw here so you can see. 1 second. All right. For all of us on this call today, we're trying to lose fat, build muscle. Okay. Here's the formula for lose fat, build muscle. One, you must be in a calorie deficit. We know that already. Okay. You need to be consuming fewer calories than your body needs today. Meaning that if your body needs 2,500 calories per day, you can lose weight eating 2,000 calories per day. You can lose weight in a 500-calorie deficit, a 200-calorie deficit, a 100-calorie deficit, a 700-calorie deficit. The depth of your deficit depends on you and your lifestyle. Okay. No matter what, you need a deficit. Okay. Two, if you're trying to lose fat and build muscle, you need protein. How much protein do I need? I need 1 gram 1 gram of protein, excuse me, per pound of my lean body mass. Most people don't know their lean body mass, okay? Unless you've gotten a DEXA scan or some type of like in-body scan where you stand and you hold the little controllers, okay? Most people don't know their lean body mass. So how much protein do you need? You need 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight, okay? So say you want to weigh 150 pounds. Getting about 150 grams of protein per day is where you need to start, okay? Then three, you need fiber. Every adult in the US, based on our dietary guidelines, every adult needs 25 grams of fiber per day. Okay. And then fats and carbohydrates. I'll just put this below here. Fats and carbs. just based on how you prefer to eat and your lifestyle. Okay. If you're taking 6 classes a week, you need more carbs than fat. If you're taking 1 class per week, you need more fat than carbs. We'll talk in more detail about what it looks like for you and your lifestyle. If I see Michael on the phone here, Michael works for UPS. I hope you don't mind me sharing. Michael works for UPS, and so he's always on his feet, right? I just sent him a nutrition strategy the other day about like, hey, I know that we're only getting to class twice a week, but because you're so active, like you probably take like 20, 30,000 steps a day. You walk Disney World every day, right? Taking that into account, it's important for you to have enough carbohydrate for your day. But somebody like me, who I just sit and I talk on the phone all day, right? I don't need nearly as much carbohydrate as Michael does working for UPS up and down y'all steps, getting chased by y'all's dogs all day. Put them dogs away. Michael's trying to drop off the packages. Okay. So thinking about that, we have lose fat and build muscle is the main target. Calorie deficit is step number one. You must be in a deficit to lose fat. If you don't know if you're in a deficit, we need to talk. 2, your protein intake. You need 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. If you're trying to get down to 160 pounds, 160 grams of protein. You must be consuming fiber, 25 grams of fiber per day. Hydration, fat, carbs, sleep, stress, all that stuff is a byproduct. All that stuff, it comes after. Okay. And we can talk about that uniquely in your life. So now coming back to this label real quick. As I'm looking at a food label, I need to decide whether or not it's actually helpful for my specific goals. The first thing that I want to look for is the calories to protein ratio. Okay. Because I'm trying to create a calorie deficit while getting enough protein. The calories to protein ratio, calories to protein, you may have seen this online, is 100 to 10 or 10 to 1, meaning for every 100 calories, there needs to be at least 10 grams of protein to make this a good source of protein. On this label, at 230 calories, this is a good source of protein if it has 23 grams of protein on the label. So we can look at things like, hold on, let me stop. We can look at things like, let me Google just like a Premier protein shake. Okay, because I know that a lot of us are drinking these Premier protein shakes. All right, so I can look at the label of a Premier protein shake. Boom. I can look at the label of Premier protein shake. It has 160 calories, meaning for it to be a good source of protein, it needs to have at least 16 grams of protein in it. Okay, 10 to 1. This has 30 grams of protein in it. This is an excellent source of protein for the calories, right? I'm getting double for my buck. Okay. This is an excellent source of protein. And you'll find other things like Starkist tuna packets, good example. Tuna label. So I can check out the label of my tuna packet. This is 70 calories, following the 10 to 1 ratio. This should have at least 7 grams of protein to be a good source of protein. The Starkist tuna packet has 17 grams of protein in it, making it an excellent source of protein. It is more than double the amount of protein that I would think should be in something like this. Okay. And the examples go on. Before I keep going, have y'all heard this before? Have you heard the 10 to 1 calories to protein ratio? Yes, no, drop it in the chat. Let me know if you've heard something like this before. 10 to 1 calories to protein. All right, y'all. So it's not that you don't care. I hope I'm showing you that it's not that you don't care about this, right? It's not that you're not motivated about this. It's simply that you've been trying to do this without the right information, right? And so that's why we're here today. And that's why we're going to keep doing these educational workshops. Like I know they can get a little bit long-winded. That's okay. This is stuff that y'all need to know so that you can finally reach your goals. And so when you go out into the world and they're like, oh my God, who's your trainer? Like, man, I'm at Bike Shape Fit. I feel great, right? Like, oh, I work with Coach Kyra. I'm feeling good. I got transformed, feeling the blank. We want that from you. Okay. We want you to feel good about your journeys with us. All right. So this education is going to be a part of what we keep doing. So keep showing up to these. Okay. Because there's even more for us to talk about. All right. Thank y'all for holding on to that 10 to 1 protein ratio. I'll send the video to Tara, Tasha, Mike, and Tahira. I'll send that to you once we hang up the phone today. All right. So thinking a little bit more about what's fat loss supportive. That's what we just talked about with the food label. Looking at the food label, I need to decide when I'm buying food what is going to be supportive of my main objectives in a fat loss specific goal. I have to be in a calorie deficit. I got to be getting enough protein, and I need to ensure that I'm hitting my fiber targets. What's going to help me make progress toward this fat loss goal? Is it going to be a bottled smoothie at 190 calories per serving with 2 servings? Or is it going to be yogurt and berries, right? Which is a high protein yogurt and 1 cup of berries. The whole bottle smoothie has 380 calories. The yogurt and berries has 220 to 280 calories. Which one is going to be more supportive of my goal, right? We also want to think about how much protein is in either of these things, okay? Fat loss supportive doesn't necessarily mean that either of these things is good or bad. It just means, is it supporting me as I make progress toward my goal? Okay. And I want to just name again that your progress towards your goal is going to be uniquely specific to you and your life. Okay. Specific to you and your life. Because like I gave you the example, Michael needs more carbs than I do because Michael's more active than me. Okay. Marcy might need more carbs than I do because Marcy takes more classes than I do. Okay. So that taken into account, let's keep going. I don't want us to think about like standing in Wegmans or standing in Piggly Wiggly, just like scanning food labels and just being obsessive with it. Okay. We don't need to find the perfect foods. We need to just think about which foods are useful to my goal. And there are three pillars that I want you to think about. One, protein anchor foods. Does this food help me build a meal with enough protein to support my fat loss, muscle retention, and recovery goals? Your protein goal, again, is 1 gram per pound of your lean body mass or ideal weight. Okay. Then produce or fiber. Does what I'm about to eat add fiber, nutrients, and volume to my meals that helps me stay satiated? I need 25 grams of fiber per day. In terms of fruit or vegetables, a serving of fiber is about the size of your fist. Each fist-size serving of fiber has about 2 grams in it. Okay. So I need to have something like, oh my goodness, 12 and a half servings of fiber per day. That's a lot of fiber. That's like 3 to 6 fist-sized portions of vegetables and like 4 fist-sized portions of fruit, maybe. And then other sources of fiber like beans and lentils and potatoes and naturally occurring sources of fiber throughout my day. I need to be eating actual food to hit this goal. 150 grams of protein and 25 grams of fiber, which is 12 and a half servings. Dang, that's a lot of food, which is counterintuitive to what I've been taught from the diet industry, which is to eat as little as possible. I need to be eating more for my fat loss specific goal. Okay. And then enjoyment food. Does it add pleasure that you can eat intentionally without turning the whole meal into a free for all? All right, cool. Let me do this real quick. I need to talk about enjoyment food, pleasure foods, because this is where most people are going wrong. Okay. Drop your pleasure food in the chat right now. I know mine off the very top of my head. What's your pleasure food? If you hand me a slice of pizza, the day is ruined. Chips, pizza, what's your pleasure food? If you say, hey, let's go get some, it's done. It's over. Pizza is a red zone food. What's your pleasure food? That one thing that you know is going to trigger you no matter what. You can be having the greatest day. You can have lost 12 pounds. As soon as somebody invites you to this, you know it's over. What is your pleasure food? Tell me in the chat. So while you're telling me what your pleasure food is, oh, okay, hold on. We got a list. Chips, pizza, fried chicken wings. Okay. I had Andy's pizza last night. I've never been to Andy's. And you see how I'm about to start like talking about, oh, Andy's sounds good. Where is Andy's? Let's meet up at Andy's. They have pizza. You see how I'm about to do that, right? So we know, we know that trigger foods, it's important for us to be very intentional when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, don't do it. Okay, I'm not gonna go. Rice bowls, fried chicken, quesadillas. I love a quesadilla. Wings, iced tea, Mexican food, pizza, chips, donuts. Oh my God. And so you see how now we all starting to think about food. This is the distinction that we need to make in our minds. We have our green zone foods, right? Green zone foods are our protein, our fiber. We have yellow zone foods, which is just like kind of depends on the circumstance. Yellow zone foods for me are like peanuts, tortilla chips, popcorn, rice cakes. It depends on the type of day that I'm having. I might be able to do some fruit snacks. I might be able to do something like that. But if I'm having a bad day, that stuff becomes a red zone trigger immediately. Okay. And then thinking about red zone triggers, we want to have our red zone triggers, but we want to have them in a contained environment. Okay. As you're pursuing a fat loss goal, you'll hear me tell you, like, hey, I want you to have like one red zone meal a day, or not a day, one red zone meal a week. Okay. Because I want us to have that feeling of normalcy. I want you to have a donut once a week. I want you to have pizza once a week. Otherwise, what we're doing is not supportive of long-term fat loss adherence. Okay. And that's going to be the number one thing to making sure that you hit your goals. Can you adhere to your plan? All right. Thank y'all for indulging me on that. So then let me ask you this. Where are you right now? Okay. In the chat, share the number that matches where you most feel. And there's no judgment for where you are right now, right? Like 1 is I'm exhausted. I've tried everything and nothing's quite sticking for where I am. Okay. 2, I do okay during the week. Then the weekend comes and it wipes me out. I'm worried about regrouping from my summer behavior. Okay. Because a lot of us are coming toward the end of the summer and starting to worry, am I going to be able to get out of this? Okay. And then 3, I'm consistent, but the scale won't move and I don't know why. Okay. Where are you today? 1, I'm exhausted. I've tried everything and nothing sticks. 2, I do okay during the week. Then the weekend comes and wipes me out. I'm worried about recovering from my summer behavior. 3, I'm consistent, but the scale won't move and I don't know why. Okay. This is good. This is helpful. Everybody's falling in 2 today. Last week it was 3. This week it's 2. That's interesting. All right. So share where you are. No judgment whatsoever for where you are. Okay. And I hope this is just reinforcing this idea that like there's nothing wrong with you. Your motivation is here, your desire is here, but knowing how to navigate these situations is going to be helpful. And having this education about what food actually is, I hope is going to be helpful too. Let's talk about this 5-pillar approach to this. Okay. We're trying to figure out what do I need to start to do to make progress toward this goal, even over the weekend? Okay. I think for most of us, it's going to come down to these first three pillars rather than these last five. So let me zoom in here. And let's kind of talk to these first three pillars, right? I call this the fail-proof fat loss approach. If you can master these first three pillars, pillars one, two, and three, if you can master these first three pillars, you will be 80% of the way towards your goal, I promise. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a poll in each pillar. And I just want you to tell me, like, how many yeses did you give in each category? Okay. Category one, behavioral foundations. There are 5 questions. Count your yeses. Okay. Here we go. Question one. Are you eating enough to support your health and stable energy? Count. Are you building balanced meals with protein, fiber, and quality foods? Have you created regular meal timing to reduce hunger and food noise? Have you prepared your food environment through shopping and meal prepping? And are you improving your hydration, sleep, digestion, and stress resilience? Behavior foundations. Are you eating enough? Are you building balanced meals with protein and fiber? Have you created regular meal times so that your body knows when food is coming? Are you preparing your own food, doing grocery shopping and meal prep? And are you working to improve your hydration, sleep, digestion, and stress resilience? If you can answer yes to all of those, you're going to drop a 5 in the chat. Tell me your number, right? Is it a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? How many did you get in category one? How many yeses did you get from category one? All right, 5, 2, or 3. Tell me how many yeses you got from category one. As you're doing that, I'm going to move on to category two in 10 seconds. Two. Okay. So this exercise is to help reveal where you need to start. Okay. Right now, we're seeing that if you have like less than a 4 in behavioral foundations, then you got some work to do in category one. Okay. We'll talk about what that looks like. Category two, increasing your metabolic output. This is where a lot of you are probably already doing well. Okay. Are you working toward 6 to 10,000 steps per day? Question one. Are you creating opportunities for regular daily movement? 2. Are you moving with proper form and mechanics? 3. Are you resistance training consistently in ways that you enjoy, probably getting 2 or more sessions per week? 4. And are you progressively intensifying your training and tracking your performance in the gym? 5. Okay. Are you building towards 6 to 10,000 steps per day, creating opportunities for regular daily movement with proper form and mechanics, resistance training consistently and enjoyably, and progressing your intensity and tracking your performance? You have 1 to 5. What are your answers in category two? Increasing your calories out. We have 4, 1, 1, 3, or 4. 10 seconds, drop your answers in category two. All right, 4, good. All right, 3, 2, 1. Last section for today is thinking about nutrition for body recomposition, nutrition for fat loss. These answers might actually shock you. You might be doing a little bit better than you think here, okay? Nutrition for fat loss specifically. Do you understand calories and macros? Are you tracking your food consistently and accurately? Are you fueling your daily needs that support muscle and fat loss? Are you measuring your progress, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally? And are you practicing balance, inclusion, and sustainability on your plan? Do you understand calories and macros, tracking your food consistently and accurately, fueling your daily needs that support muscle and fat loss, measuring physical, mental, and emotional progress, and practicing balance, inclusion, and sustainability on your plan? You have 5 total yeses. How many can you answer yes to in category 3? 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay, cool. So I hope this is revealing, right? Like we don't even have to do these last 2 sections, section 4 and 5. We'll do that next time. Right now, though, I hope this is revealing that it's not that you don't know how to move your body. It's not that you're not taking classes. It's not that you're not being serious about your objectives. It's that there's just education and knowledge gaps here. Like I might not know how to track regularly, or I might need to think a little bit more about my food environment, or I'm not tracking my training performance. Okay. So keep this in mind. Let's move on. Let's do a hot seat really quickly. Okay. All right. I'm asking for a volunteer. I need a volunteer to come off Unmute yourself, tell us your story, talk to us about your problems in a public audience recorded on Zoom. I need one person who's willing to share what's been happening so that we can help you break through your weight loss plateau or make August the month that you start making progress again. Okay. We'll talk through the 5 pillars or the 3 pillars that we just started working on, and then we'll break down what's happening and what we need to do next. So I need one person who's willing to give me 7 minutes to start to help you kind of solve your problem so people can see this play out in real time. Okay.
Okay. Hi,
Hey,
y'all.
for you.
Hey,
How
let's
you
do it. I'm good. How are you? How are
doing?
you?
Thank you so much for hopping off. Thank you for being here today as well. What's up? What are we working on?
Everything.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm gonna be fully transparent because I shout out to Coach Vic for pushing me to get on this call. I
Hmm.
started his boxing um class maybe about a year ago. Y'all, I did 5 classes. Then I got injured and I just didn't go back. But I went with a friend who's still going. Shout out to her. Um, but I wanted to lose weight, get my 6 pack back. I'm not very big, but I'm not making healthy choices, and I know it. Um, but over the past couple of months, I have been looking at my sugar intake, just doing things differently, drinking more water, and just finding the balance in how to transition from not eating red meats and just unhealthy choices, flat out. So in that, I felt the need to do this and be pushed to do so because um, one of the things that I do outside of this is I teach mental health and performance. And in order to lead, I have to do it by example. So this is pushing me to do the portions that I have to do in order to be able to articulate and be, an example for those that I'm telling to do the same exact thing. So you, come on, coach, come on, give me a go.
Okay, cool. Let's
From
get you
one
together.
coach to
Well,
another, just give me a
yeah,
go.
absolutely. Hey, you have to walk the talk. And I think a lot of this starts with just like that internal narrative. And it's not just you're not just a coach, Tasha. I'm speaking to you. You're not just a coach to like the people who you're working with, but all of us are coaches to other people in our lives, right? Like all of us are examples or embodiments to other people, whether it's kids or nephews or siblings or fill in the blank. We want to be that health model for the people we love, right? And so having that drive, Tasha, that vision for your life to kind of treat your health priorities like they're actually a priority, take it really seriously. I hear that. I'm excited to kind of dive in with you today. All right, cool. So, what's been the biggest challenge point for you lately? It sounds like you've made a lot of transitions nutritionally. Sounds like you're coming back from an injury. Like, what's the thing? What's the biggest pain point here?
I think the biggest thing is one, the knowledge, being aware of what to do differently for me kind of maybe the biggest thing. Because I'm already thinking about it, right? And trying different things, but I know my try is at a lower level because I just don't have the right information. So with
Hmm.
not having that, frustration just makes you, okay, well, I'll get to it instead of no, let me make this. Okay, I do need to meal prep. But after
Hmm.
saying I need to meal prep, what am I meal prepping? Then it goes back to I don't know what to meal prep, so I'm not going to do it. So with that awareness and then having a plan, or a coach that can help guide you through that process, I think are some of the components that are necessary when you want to do something, but and you will do it, but again, you don't have the right information or the guidance to do so. So I think for me, it's that once given the right information and understanding, it's not just being aware, but understanding what that really does for me as a person, and seeing the difference, being able to experience the difference. Those things matter. So I feel like just allowing myself to go through the process is no different than any other process, but this one is necessary. Just period. Like you can't continue to function in life if you can't get through it.
Yeah.
We want to take trips and live our best lives, but can we actually function and get through it? So that is the drive for me, is to be a better, my own, be my best bodyguard. Best way to
Oh
put it.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you versus the world most of the time is we gonna want it to be you, right? So making sure that you're equipped to go out there and protect yourself, defend yourself, or at least get through life and enjoy it, right? Like it's yes, having our strength and our functionality, but it's also being able to move through life and enjoy our lives. And so it sounds like it sounds like a little bit of like humbling yourself and admitting that, there's this knowledge gap. Like I think I know where I should be, but I'm not quite entirely sure what I should be doing. We have all these like metrics here, and I'm wondering if there was one that was standing out to you about where you start. So we hang up the phone today, and obviously you and I can continue the conversation, but like when you think about the first next right step that you could take, What might that be? Like, what stood out to you about trying to reclaim your health and get your eating habits back together? Even as you collect the information, what feels like the next rightest step for you?
By taking myself through the process, and I told you I'm already at like a coach from the mental health perspective.
Mhm.
I think for me, the first thing I would do after having this conversation is write down everything that I'm already doing, like currently right now, in terms of my eating habits, my pattern of sleep, so I can, and that should start my data, where I currently am in this very moment, and then let that track, what the difference is and how I change that over time. I think is
Hmm.
what stands out to me the most is what I have not done.
Yeah.
Thought
I
about it,
think that,
but I haven't written
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is 100% when I have a conversation with anyone as a certified nutritionist. 100% of the time, no matter who you are, I ask you to start tracking your food for at least like 5 days. And when I say tracking your food, it's not just tracking with MyFitnessPal or an app or anything like that. It's like just take pictures of your food. It's
Mhm.
really shocking how food is something that we're just not mentally engaged with. Like it's just happening to us. But the
Right.
moment that we step away from it, we take this third person bird's eye view to it, we can now start to observe our behavior when it comes to food. Am I eating this because I'm actually hungry? Am I eating this because I'm stressed? Am I eating this because it's just available? Am I eating this because I wasn't prepared for the week? And tracking our food gives us an opportunity to reflect on what we see, right? And so if there's a place where I'd recommend every single person on this call to start, if you're trying to get some normalcy when it comes to your nutrition, is spend like a 5 day experiment taking pictures of your food, right? You can text them to me if you want to. That's if we did have a chance to work together, that's where we start anyway, right? But start to take pictures of your food because that will give you the insight into like these very specific places to start. Okay. I think that's a good idea to just
I
reveal
like that.
what you haven't seen for a while. I appreciate you, Tasha. I look forward to connecting with you in the gym. I'm usually in there on Sundays with Miriam and Wednesday or Thursday morning. So I know there's a couple of y'all that I haven't seen just yet.
Okay.
But if you want to come through on Sunday, I'll be there tomorrow.
All right. Don't do that.
I'll be there
Look.
tomorrow.
But yes,
Okay,
I
perfect.
appreciate you. I appreciate you,
You're
and I
so
will
welcome.
tap
You're
in.
so welcome. Perfect. Well, thank you, Tasha.
All right.
Okay, cool. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, this is my job. And because this is my job, I hope to give you the education that you need to continue making progress on your own. And you can make progress on your own. And if you're tired of trying to make progress on your own, that's also why I'm here, right? You can do this on your own. We can do this together. And let me explain what this could look like if you were interested in getting some support with this. Here's the gift that I'm here to give you. Okay. Strategy session, a 30 to 45-minute strategy conversation to talk about your current goals, to talk about your approach, to talk about your strategy and the pitfalls that are preventing you from getting to where you need to go. Okay. The strategy session looks like this. One, I'm going to send you an essential skills and metabolic health assessment so we can get the full picture of what's going on in your life. I'm going to ask you about your health. I'm going to ask you about your habits, ask you about your eating habits. Okay. We'll schedule a 30 to 45-minute strategy conversation and we'll audit your nutrition, habits, movement, sleep, stress, and your current fat loss strategy. For a lot of people, August is the time when people are starting to regroup from the summer, right? Just because the kids are going back to school. I know I heard some people are going back to 24th, some people are going back to 17th, right? So they're calling the kids back a little bit earlier than usual, it seems. But with that, we'll talk about what your August strategy needs to look like if you're really serious about your fat loss goal moving forward. Okay. We'll identify the highest impact gap across the 5 pillars that we started to talk about today. And then you'll leave knowing exactly what you need to do moving forward into the month of August. Okay. You're going to text me the word finally. If this sounds interesting to you, text the word finally to my phone number 202-240-8262. That's me. If you want to set up this strategy session, this is a completely free strategy session. Okay. If you want to set this up, text the word finally to 202-240-8262, and I will text you once we hang up the phone today. Okay. If we find from the strategy session that you actually do want to learn more about coaching, about what this looks like, how can we develop a meal plan or a fat loss strategy game plan, fill in the blank, we can talk about that too. But the first step is having this conversation. And if you text me finally 202-240-8262, I guarantee you once we hang up the phone, I'll text you back. We'll get a call on the books this week. So I got my phone right here. I'm waiting for text messages to come through. I have one text. Thank you. Finally, I don't know who that is, but I got you. I have you. I'll see you 5411. I'll see you in a second. Okay. As soon as we hang up today. Text the word finally to 202-240-8262. We'll get a call scheduled and we'll do this audit of your lifestyle to make sure that you have the education to keep moving forward. Okay. Listen, I showed y'all at the very beginning where I started from. Okay. Let me go back. Back. I showed y'all where I started. Okay. And at the beginning, this was a really frustrating place to be, to know that I'm trying all the different ways to make progress on this and that nothing's happening. And nothing was happening, not because I wasn't trying, but because I didn't know what I was trying for. I wasn't clear on the steps that I needed to take to make progress. And that's what I hope to clear up for you all once we have this conversation. Okay. I want you to text me finally, 202-240-8262. And let's get the clarity that you need to kind of stop working on this. Right. And that's why I use the word finally, like just get it over with. Okay. Let's stop thinking about this, stop worrying about this, not enter 2027 with this on your list of New Year's resolutions again. Okay. The fall is a beautiful opportunity to reclaim a lot of what went wrong over the summer, to get some habits and routines under your belt. That's what I hope to do for you all when we have these audit calls. So text me finally 202-240-8262. That's the hardest part, just sending the text message. From there, I'll handle everything else. Okay. So I got some text messages right now. I have 5411-9742. Thank you so much. I'll send you a text back here in just a second. Y'all, I appreciate you making some time. I hope this was helpful for you. We'll do another one in about a month or so. I'll see you in the gym and shoot me a text message. I look forward to hearing from you.